I like listen to like NPR, BBC, New York Times, like all one story. Like why do they even have different like publications if they're gonna have one narrative? They should just make it one channel like North Korea. So much easier for people to follow. And I think it just reminds me of like the Animal Farm, how it all began, and the beginning just like don't thinking, oh, it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my life right now. And then suddenly like you start people being purged and being executed. And we are not in the state where like we are executed, but like you literally get canceled and you don't like lose platform on social media. Like you lose your voice. And that is almost like similar execution for like activists like me. Like if I lose my people, like my influence, then I cannot let them know the truth, right? How do I ever fight in this system?
What do you make of the sense where we're at in America? Forgetting the election, just generally, like, you know, you mentioned some of the negative things that have happened to you, but obviously some truly incredible things have happened to you at the same time.
So yeah, I've been also starting my YouTube channel, and like I was doing live and talk about how pure socialism can be so poisonous, can never work. And of course, I'm sure you know that like, YouTube demonetized our videos, right? And I was wondering like how like any idea should be up for debate. I thought that's what freedom meant. And here we have this like code of like where we have to, I mean, I went to Columbia in New York. And you can imagine how it felt like for me going through another 4 years of oppression there. Like they talk about oppression of white men, but there's another oppression that they cannot see. And I think that's why I just don't know like how even to fight. I feel like I came to America like 4 or 5 years ago. And like, were you guys always like this crazy? Like how this?
We weren't, I promise you, we weren't always this crazy, but we need people like you to help us find the way again. I mean, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because you've lived through this stuff. You've lived through it. And then when I saw the video and you're somehow referencing my book, and I'm going, this is crazy. I mean, you've lived through it. I'm talking about this stuff at the idea level, although I fear that most of the things that I was worried about in the book are starting to become true.
Yeah, it's I mean, until I didn't get robbed and seeing people how they're like, you know, this is something you would read like on the like conspiracy theory like news sites. These people were standing on the Michigan Avenue in Chicago like 2 p.m. like during the day near the Macy, and police cars were nearby. And these people seeing me being punched and calling me a racist because they only thing they could see was a color in their eyes. The other girl was black, I was like Asian, that's all. And that's like when I thought like, oh, this is like it's not like I'm trying to alarm people. This is a complete gone madness. And I don't even know how to go back to the middle zone where some sanity like holds.
Yeah, you sort of referenced this a little while ago, but the idea that if you talk about these things, freedom, free speech, all of the things that you've just described here, that if you talk about them, you're suddenly thought of as like right wing, that this is now a right wing thing. How has that affected your ability to do your advocacy and build bridges and things like that?
As the things are so hard, like how they are just so easy to calling names now, right? They're so busy like making few new names for people and then holding them into this little box. And it's been very challenging, like actually doing this, like all my friends were like, you are fighting for North Korean people, you cannot doing this, you cannot talk about any of these problems, just stick with North Korea. But like, in order to North Korea, and serve North Korea, I need to like serve China first. The problem of North Korea, the root is Chinese regime, like Communist Party. It's not Kim Jong Un. Kim Jong Un can never survive one day without Xi Jinping. So, I mean, how do I like fight this massive fight without like letting people know what's happening and what China is doing to the humanity? And then as soon as I, of course, criticize mainstream media for not like highlighting this issue, then, you know, I'm becoming a right extreme, like crazy person.
What do you think about our media here? So as someone that grew up with, as you said, one channel, our media, our mainstream media kind of feels like one channel at a certain level.
I mean, it is one channel. It's I mean, I like listen to like NPR, BBC, New York Times, like all one story. Like, why do they even have different like publications if they're gonna have one narrative? They should just make it one channel like North Korea. So much easier for people to follow. And I think it just reminds me of like the Animal Farm, how it all began, and the beginning, just like don't thinking, oh, it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my life right now. And then suddenly, like you start people being purged and being executed, and we are not in the state where like we are executed, but like you literally get canceled, and you don't like lose platform on social media, like you lose your voice, and that is almost like similar execution for like activists like me. Like if I lose my people, like my influence, then I cannot let them know the truth, right? How do I ever fight in this system? And like my like fight is depending on the tech companies, their decision on me. Like one day, like, oh, I can let her be heard, then I can be heard. But if they decide I cannot be heard, I cannot be heard. It's not up to me anymore. And that's like what just freaks me out within, like, how am I going to just fight?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting when people ask me what I love most about doing the show. It's this right now, because think about like our lives are so different, came from such different places. And the things that you care about are the exact things that I care about. Like it's actually incredible how these sort of eternal ideas just end up bringing us together.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's freedom is something that we can. I think that's what I'm so like scared for going to Colombia. Is like they don't understand. Like people, when you're born with like two arms, you never know what it feels like living without two arms. And these people like at Colombia keep like wondering about what would it be like without like freedom. Right, they have no clue what it's gonna be without it, and they keep trying to experiment this new idea. And there's like no, I mean, I know what it feels like living without this like rights and freedom, and why are you trying to keep abandon them? Our ancestors fought for our freedom of speech, and like they bled their blood for it. Freedom is not free. There was a price they paid for, and now because they got it for free, they just want to see what it feels like without two arms. And like, it's not that great. Like your life is gonna be so miserable. And I think that's like what shocks me and horrifies me, how ignorant and this evil, this like ignorant idea is.
Can you also talk a little bit about how it's not just like the bad actors that spread these ideas, but how the average person just kind of gives up? Like what you saw in North Korea when you were a kid, and then China when you were a little bit older, about how the average person just sort of checks out, because that seems to be the stage that we're in right now here.
So yeah, I was thinking like, so in North Korea, if you commit a crime, it doesn't end with you. Like it tracks to 3 generations of your family. Sometimes 8 generations, which means like your in-laws of cousins like that. So one like defector escapes who was high level. He's like 30,000 people got purged for that. And like usually it's 3 generations, so your grandpa, your children, all of it. And in America now, it feels like if I say something that was maybe completely aware 30 years ago, it gets back to me, and I don't know what's gonna get back to me 30 years down the road, and how it's gonna affect my son. Like people talking about something that happened in the like time in the ancestral age, and they have to be responsible for that. About the slavery thing, that is like exactly reminds me of that. Like because my ancestors did it so many lifetime ago, how does it affect me? How does it make me feel guilt, right? And this like complete idea from North Korea, I don't know where this idea is coming from. Like we are making people so guilty and shame them, and that's what North Korea is all about: shaming people and make them feel guilty and punish them.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about international issues instead of nonstop yelling, check out our international playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.